وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. So, not too long ago, I was at an event, and this event was there were some famous people that had come to this event, and they were there to raise money for a certain charitable cause. So they basically started off and they gave a little sales pitch, and they said, Brother Imran, how much are you going to give for this cause? Brother Muhammad, how much are you going to give for this cause? Brother so and so. And while in front of everyone, the person points out to you and says, Brother, how much are you going to give? So, what do you think about that donation? It's not a donation, okay? So you could tell that there were people who were uncomfortable because maybe they could have given more or less, or maybe they could not have given. But because all of their friends and a social network was sitting there, they felt embarrassed to give something. So I actually consulted about this matter with a sheikh afterwards, and he said that this donation is actually not halal for them to take. The way they did it, ideally they need to contact each one of those people back and tell them this is your money back, and we took it in an inappropriate manner, and our fundraiser or whatever made a mistake. Here's your money back. And if you ever want to contribute, you know the website, you know where to donate, you can do whatever you want. Now, gifts and donations, they fall in a similar category, which is that it is a giving out of a person's own goodness, and there's no requirement to give. There's no requirement to give. Our Prophet ﷺ said that gifts increase love. Give gifts, it will increase you in love. So giving gifts, whether they are small or big, depending on the person that you're giving it to and depending on the person who's giving, it can increase love if it is a proper gift and not something else which is being covered up as a gift. So what are some other things which can be covered up as gifts? Bribes. Number one, bribes. Number two, what do you think? Or you could say forced taking of a person's wealth. You can say, well, you give me this, or I will do this to you. But because there's no legal justification for that transaction, a person might say, okay, we're going to just declare it as a gift. Okay, so a real gift, when it is given, then it will increase increase the love between the parties that are giving it. So we'll look at what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. It also removes negativity from the hearts of the people. Okay, so if you're a neutral and you give gifts to someone, it increases you in love. And if you are in the negative and you give gifts, it brings you up to perhaps neutral or even higher, depending on how, because of course, what really matters in a gift is the thoughtfulness of a person. So a couple of rules, a few rules that we will quickly share, inshallah, is that number one is that taking gifts back is prohibited. And the Prophet ﷺ said that for a person to ask for a gift back is like a person who has vomited and they're licking it back up again. So this is how bad is it for a person to do such a thing. So he said that this is how evil it is for a person to give a gift to someone and then ask for it back. So once you have given a gift, you have given that gift, especially when it reaches the other person that you are giving it to. But let's say that you had intended a gift. You even told the person about it, but that person didn't yet get that gift in their hand or in their possession. There is an exception for that, where Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he had given a gift to his daughter Aisha, and then he changed it before she had taken possession of it. The next rule is that if one was holding an item for someone then the owner gifted it to the holder. The holder can just keep it as is, as it his from here on. So if you were holding, some $500 from me because someone had given it to you, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll give it to you next week or something. And during that process, at some point, a person says, okay, you know what, that it's a gift for you. You'll keep it. So it is okay. And you don't have to say, okay, well, no, here's your $500, take it back, then give it back to me as a gift. That's not necessary. You don't need to do that. The same thing can be done with debt. If a person owes money to someone, and that person wanted to be kind, they could say to them that, look, the money that you owe me, I have gifted it to you. As in, I have forgiven your debt. Now that money is yours. You don't have to pay me back. Now, again, you don't have to do that. And we'll talk about a rule with regards to that, which is it cannot be expected or requested. Okay, we'll come to that in a second. The next rule with regards to gift giving is that gifts cannot be dependent on any future condition. If you get such and such for me, I will give you this gift, this as a gift. Or if you achieve this, any type of future condition, this cannot be, this is not the proper way of gift giving. Because essentially when you are doing a gift, it's a transaction which is one way. Okay? And it is done out of goodness. It is not done out of expecting something in return. When you are expecting something in return, even though that may not benefit you, then it's not really a 100% one-way giving. But rather, it's like, you have to do this for me. For example, it could be, you have to get 100 on your test. Then I will give you this thing as a gift. Now, you can, if that's what you want to do, you can tell your kids, just don't use the word gift, for example. Tell them, if you get 100 on your test, you can ask me for anything that you want up to this much. You want to always put up to this much, right? Otherwise, kids will be like, you're not fulfilling your promise. You can say a reward, but basically it will not be a true gift. A true gift is a one-way transaction. One exception could be is that a person makes a wasiyah. He says, when I die, my books will go to such and such person. Okay? Now this is a type of gift, but it's also a type of wasiyah. It's also a type of wasiyah, and if the condition is when I die, then this wasiyah has to fall within the rules of inheritance. And what is the rule of wasiyah? Only 1/3. Okay, so let's say that this person had collected some rare books, and they're now worth a lot of money. And the total value of those books end up being 2/3 of all of his assets. In this case, only 1/3 can go to that person. The other will go towards the heirs of the person who died. The next rule is that the gifts cannot be temporary. You cannot say, okay, I'm giving this to you as a gift for a year. Then you have to give it back to me. So once again, gifts are one-way giving, one-way gifting, one-way transaction. If there's any sort of two ways going on, then that does not qualify as a gift. Now, in that case, it might be other rules that apply to it. Okay? Parents cannot be unfair to their children in gift giving. So if a person gives one of their child a gift, then they have to give an equal gift to their other children. And that is, of course, before death. Once death comes near, at that time, a person, if they're expecting that, maybe they have been told something by the doctors, they can see some signs, they are expecting something is going to happen. Now, in that case, they can give gifts, but those gifts must fall within the rules of inheritance. So essentially, there's no gift giving when you're on your deathbed. At this time, your wealth can only be distributed according to inheritance. But while you are alive, healthy, no expectation of death, even though death may be just around the corner, but you don't know about it, at that time a person can give from their wealth, but with regards to their children, they have to be equal. Now, the scholars have raised an interesting discussion, which is that they said that what if a person has a number of kids and one of them has taken care of them really well, and the other ones have neglected the needs of the parents or the being good to the parents? Is it okay for parents to say, well, you know what, this child of mine deserves more, so let me give them this much, and the others I'll give a smaller amount? So the answer is, of course, no. And the scholar said that the good that this child did will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not for you to reward, and it is not for you to punish the others. Also, they said that if you do this, you're going to make the other siblings hate this one. You're going to basically, in a way, encourage them to be even worse than they are because of you being unfair to them. So if you're going to give one something, then give it to all of your kids. Something same or similar, as in that equitable, right? So you might say, okay, I'll give you a car, but they can choose the car that they want up to a certain amount. It would not be fair for you to buy one child a very expensive car and another child a cheap car. But you can tell them that, look, my budget is 50K, for example, if it is. I don't know whose budget is 50K, but mashallah, some brothers are. So they could tell them, okay, if you want, you can get a cheap car, and the rest of the money can go towards something else that you want. Or you can put all of it, meaning they have to be fair and equitable with all of their children. So the interesting hadith is that there was a companion who gave one of his sons a gift. He gave him the gift of a servant or slave. So his wife was very wise, and she knew that this is not right. But she couldn't tell him that. So she was very wise, and she told him that, you know what, this is such a nice thing you're doing. What if somebody raises any questions about it? So why don't you go and ask the Prophet ﷺ to be a witness that you have given this as a gift to your son? So when he came to the Prophet ﷺ and told him that this is what I'm giving and I want you to be a witness, so the Prophet said that, do you have other children? He said, yes. He said, are you giving them each the same thing as well? He said, no. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, I will not be a witness to this transaction. This is unfair, and I will not be a part of it. Okay, so this also shows us a number of lessons, which is, number one, is sometimes if you want to tell someone something that they're doing wrong, you don't necessarily have to be the one to tell them that what you're doing is wrong. There are some other indirect routes that you could employ to influence them when you don't have authority over them. Also, that if there's oppression taking place, you cannot take part in it, even though you were not the one who did it. You cannot simply facilitate it in any way. You say, look, this is oppression. I'm not going to write it. I'm not going to sign it. I'm not going to be a witness. There's nothing I will do to support you in doing this. Okay? All right. Yes. So there's actually a number of questions. Actually, I don't know the answers to them. I'll tell you there are more. Like someone told me, someone asked me this question when I was mentioning this. They said, look, what if a person sent their child to a expensive school? And now they realize that this expensive school didn't do much good for their child. And they want to send their next kid to a madrasa, for example, which is much cheaper. Are they being unfair by doing this? Because things change, situation changes. So Allahu Alam, I don't know the answer to this. For this case, what we would say is that we would go to a mufti and tell them the whole situation. And the mufti will basically, knowing what they know, they will give you a specific fatwa for that case. We don't want to change the general ruling. The general ruling is stay fair. But in a specific case, if there is some sort of up and down, and generally what I would say is that if you gave them less in one thing because of whatever situation, you can make it up with something else to add more to their pile later on. So now that you are wealthy and you're giving this other kid 100K and you gave that kid 10K, perhaps you have an extra 90K lying around as well that you could make it fair and equitable. Yeah. So the needs of the children are different from the gifts. The needs, of course, if you, may Allah protect us, if someone had to spend, thousands of dollars on one child's medical treatment because they needed it, it doesn't mean that now you have to, na'udhu billah, somehow figure out a way to spend on the other. Needs are different. Gifts are different. Gifts are extra. Needs are needs. Now you're talking about adult child who doesn't necessarily need you, but the better way is to give them equally. And you can tell your other child who is well off, saying, look, I have to be fair to both of you, so I'm giving you 10,000 and I'm giving him 10,000. But if you like, you can, if you don't need this, you can consider gifting it to your brother as well. So you can do it if they are okay with it and they do it with their hand. They give up their right, that's fine, but you cannot do that. This is my understanding, wallahu alam. Let's move on so we could finish. Only a father can take back a gift given to his child. Now we said you can never take back a gift, right? So how can a father take back a gift from their child? What is that? Anta wa maluka li abik, which means that you and your wealth belong to your father. So technically the father, the gift that he gave from his wealth to his child was also in a way under his authority. That's the right that Allah has given us. So if the father takes it, then it's not considered the same as someone else taking it back. Okay, and of course, we would say that that doesn't mean that any father should abuse their child or oppress them. But for some time, they might see, for example, some reason to do it. Maybe it's not good for this child. They gave all of their children money, but this child is using it for bad things. So maybe out of his planning for the child and wanting good, maybe they say, I'm going to take this money back from you. Of course, that can only happen in the Islamic law. In the Western law, once they are 18, then their money is their money and you can't touch it. Doesn't matter who you are. All right. A gift should not be rejected, even if it is very humble or little. It should be appreciated. Even the smallest of the gift, the simple fact that somebody thought about it, did something about it. Maybe it doesn't even cost any money. Maybe they had something in their house, they picked it up and they give it. But it should be accepted, and the Prophet ﷺ used to accept any and all gifts, which were not, any type of inappropriate gifts, in the sense that maybe there is a bribe in there or something like that. That's different. But other than that, the Prophet accepted gifts. So we should accept gift as long as there's nothing else hidden under that gift. That's a different problem. The next one is that a person who receives a gift should try to give a gift back. This is what the Prophet taught us. So if someone gives you a gift, of course, if you keep taking gifts from people, it's like you are being buried under their favors. So the Prophet ﷺ, whenever someone would give him a gift, whenever the Prophet would get a chance, he would give him a gift back. And towards the end of his life, in the last days, he said that I have repaid the favors of all of you, except Abu Bakr. For his favors upon me are too many, and I cannot pay them back. So Allah will pay him back. So the Prophet said, if you can't give him back, then you say, Jazakallahu khaira. That may Allah reward you good for what you have done to me. And this would be a sufficient way to repay his favor. Now, of course, we all say Jazakallah as just like just a word, but it is really a true dua where a person sincerely makes dua that, oh Allah, give him back, reward him for what he has done to me. Lastly, that a gift cannot be expected or requested. This is a very key rule that applies to so many issues, which is that you cannot expect people to give you a gift on any occasion. Okay, and the problem with this no gift box, what does it really mean, right? What does it really mean? It says no gift box, please. Only envelopes, right? Only cash or something like that. So then we have a lot of these parties these days that take place where it is expected. For example, people ask about a baby shower. So in these type of things, you can't go there empty-handed. And in fact, people they give their gift registry. So these are things which, in my humble understanding, these are not becoming a believer. This is not befitting a believer to have a gift registry and say, these are the things that I want. You can pick any one of them and gift it to me. It is. So a true gift cannot be expected or requested. Now, if it is not a gift, then what is it? It's not a bribe because you're not doing anything else. It is, what do you think? It's begging. It's begging. The Prophet said, don't ask anyone for anything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said that it's not allowed for a person to ask, to beg, except if they're in desperate need. So for a person to ask in these indirect ways, then this is a type of begging, and this is a violation of the guidance of the Prophet, which is don't ask anyone for anything, only ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you need. And these days we have to try to, of course, this culture can only be broken by the host. It cannot be broken by the guest. The guest cannot say, I heard this lecture that we're not supposed to give gifts, so I'm not giving gifts. No. But the host needs to say, look, I know that you all want to give a gift, but we are not, we love to accept gifts, but we want to break the trend, so we want everyone, our request for you is to don't bring a gift, not bring a gift. Now, some people will still bring a gift, that's okay. Sometimes some people say, well, if you would like, you can contribute to a certain cause. If you leave it open, as in that if you like, you can do it, then it's up to them if they want to. If they don't want to, that's all fine as well. It's basically a type of encouragement to give sadaqah, because you can't tell how you're doing it, how much they're doing it or they're not. Meaning, if I send you a link saying, please contribute this, whatever amount of money you want to give me as a gift, contribute on this link, and I'm going to find out how much you gave, then this is also not appropriate, okay? So the general rule to remember is that a gift cannot be expected or requested. So we understand asking for a gift is bad. Sometimes it is expected that you are going to be gifted for something. So in this case, it is not a gift, it is a fee. Okay? It is not a gift, it is some cases it could be a bribe. So that will not fall under a gift even if you call it a gift. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from taking anything that is not halal for us. Yes, brother. So the Prophet ﷺ, he accepted gifts, whatever the gifts were. Okay? And we're not supposed to imply what kind of gift we want or what kind of gift we don't want. Okay, so no gift boxes is like you putting a rule there. What a person can do is really stress to tell everyone that, look, the best gift is your attendance, and we don't expect anything. Please just do us a favor, just you attend. Okay? So this could be a way to stress upon people, because there are people who may be going through a financial difficulty. So either they dip in their pocket for something else and give a gift because they are embarrassed, or they won't come at all. Okay? They won't come at all because they are embarrassed to go without a gift. So they'll say, okay, I'm just going to make some excuse and not go. And we actually found this out in experience, that sometimes a few friends got together and made like a certain day that we're going to go out to eat. And then realized that, every time somebody would pay for everybody, and it was becoming burdensome for other people. So some people started skipping out of fear that they will have to pay for something that they are not able to pay. So never put anybody else in a situation where they feel embarrassed to do so. So what we did in our group is that we said, okay, look, from here on, when we go out to eat, everyone order your own food if you want. No one pay for anyone else. No one order for anyone else. If you just want a chai, then just get a chai. If you want a big heavy meal, you order it, you share it with people, that's up to you. But everyone make your own individual order so that no one feels compelled to kind of eat and then not pay and then feel embarrassed about that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq and proper understanding, to follow the truth as it's supposed to be followed. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khairan.